Welcome back to Name That Perp. Today we are going to explore one of the world's most intriguing unsolved cases. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Katie.
And today we're diving into a mystery that has haunted both police and the public for decades. A chilling case with few leads, shocking details, and no justice. The story of the Jameson family disappearance. Now we are going to jump into Name That Perp as well, but we're kicking it off with the true crime story of the Johnson family.
Great story.
Yeah, it is. All right. So, kicking it off, in October 2009, the Jameson family, Bobby, Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter, Madison, set off into the remote mountains of Oklahoma, searching for a place to start a new life. They left their hometown of Eufaula, and with them was a GPS, their truck packed with essentials, and their beloved dog, Maisie. They were reportedly interested in buying a 40-acre plot of land near Red Oak in the scenic sands Boys Mountains.
But the story takes a bizarre and heartbreaking turn. Just 8 days later, a group of hunters found the Jamesons' truck abandoned on a lonely stretch of dirt road in the mountains. The truck was unlocked, their wallets, IDs, and cell phones left inside. If that wasn't enough to raise red flags, there was also $32,000 in cash stashed under the seat. Now, that's not $3,200. That is $32,000. More than I am in my bank account. The scene raised more questions than answers. Why would the Jamesons leave behind all of their belongings, especially such a large sum of money? And why did they bring that much cash with them in the first place? It was odd, and the authorities initially suspected a drug deal gone wrong. Adding to the mystery, their dog Maisie was found alive but barely hanging on, having been trapped in the truck for over a week without food or water. The truck was parked in an area that wasn't easy to find, and there were no signs of a struggle. If this was a robbery or foul play, why was the cash untouched?
Despite extensive searches, the family remained missing for over 4 years, until November 2013. That's when a group of hunters stumbled upon partial skeletal remains about 3 miles from the truck that had been found. It was a tragic and gruesome discovery. The remains were confirmed to be those of the Johnson family, lying side by side on the forest floor. But even this didn't bring clarity. The bodies were so badly decomposed that an exact cause of death couldn't be determined. Police ruled out animal attacks and no weapon or other clues found near the bodies. There was no indication of any injuries consistent with a fall. So to this day, authorities don't know how they even died. So what we do know are the strange circumstances leading up to the disappearance. Friends and family had reported that Bobby and Sherilyn had become increasingly paranoid in the months before they vanished. Bobby claimed he was being haunted by spirits, even installing a satanic Bible in his home to ward off what he called, evil spirits. Also asking one minister if there was a silver bullet to kill them. Sherilyn, on the other hand, was reported to have struggled with depression, even dabbled in spiritual practices. She was known to be to keep a witch's Bible, and neighbors reported, odd behavior and even arguments about demons between the couple.
Imagine being their neighbors.
It's a great
insane.
I mean, neighborhood watch is on another level with them.
In the truck, police also found an 11-page letter written by Sherilyn to Bobby. It was full of angry, frustrated words, a letter that some describe as a, quote, hate letter. But was it enough to hint at an impending tragedy? Investigators have debated for years whether this letter held a clue to what happened or if it was simply part of the family's struggles. Was this the family struggling with mental health issues who wandered too far into a dangerous terrain and met with some tragic accident? Or was there something more sinister at play? Some theorists suggest that the Jamesons might have been targeted by someone they knew, Another theory is that strangers spotted them in a remote wilderness and murdered them. Others believe the family's own fear of demons may have played a role, leading to what might have been a tragic case of mass hysteria.
So there are plenty of theories, but no one has been able to answer, these lingering questions. Why did the Jamesons leave their belongings behind? What drew them out into those remote woods in the first place? And perhaps most hauntingly, why were they found together 3 miles from where they had parked?
And why would they leave their dog? Like, why wouldn't they take their dog if they were just going for like a walk to stretch their legs?
Just way too many questions. That of course is still unanswered, but years later, the mystery remains as dark as any unresolved. As the day their bodies were found, it's just so. Like I said, so many questions, so many theories. The Jameson case, family case, remains open. A true story with no conclusion. A mystery that may never be solved. So,
yeah. So let's take another look into the theories.
All right. So the Jameson family itself. So Bobby, the ages of them when they were missing, Bobby was 44, Sherilyn was 40, and poor Madison, she was only 6 years old.
Oh my God. I completely forgot that they had.
Yeah, she was only 6 years old. And for those watching, we're going to throw some pictures of the family up on the screen. But yeah, and the picture that that we found is, I don't know. We don't know if she's like standing there because she's like crying or like happy that her picture's being taken. We don't know. So there's just too many, it's heartbreaking because a lot of the podcasts and the videos that, I've watched and looked through, they don't mention Madison too many times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the biggest tragedy. She's 6 years old.
She's a baby.
She's a baby. Absolutely. She's a baby. So Bobby is 44, Sherilyn 40, of course, Madison's 6. We do know Sherilyn was bipolar, and she did have another kid from her first marriage. His name was Colton. She actually lost custody after a failed suicide attempt.
Oh.
Yeah. So Colton said his mother often was often acting strange. So she had issues.
Like a mental disorder.
Yeah, she had something going
on.
Maybe
psychosis.
Yeah. So it was this, So another thing about the whole satanic, with their house and everything like that, it was 2000. It was 2009.
Okay, so this was like after the satanic panic of like the 90s.
Oh yeah. So not long before their disappearances, Sherilyn had forced their family friend, the handyman, his name was Kenneth Bellows. They had been staying with him in the Jameson home. She forced him out, but to leave at gunpoint, with no rhyme or reason. Just pointed the gun and said, "You need to leave." Like, imagine. We have no clue. So
maybe he was just a bad handyman.
Yeah, and they looked into Bellows. They looked into him after the fact, and he was later cleared of any wrongdoing by the investigators. That getting back to the satanic and the spirits and things like that. Madison, she actually said that she had an imaginary friend named Emily. And Sherilyn thought that was one of the spirits, and they were hanging out on the rooftops. That's where Madison was saying that her imaginary friend was. So that's how it all started. Was she had an imaginary friend. But I think with the mental health or the mental disorders, that whatever the hell was going on, they took it a little too far, maybe.
I wonder if there was something in the house, like some kind of poison in the house that made them go crazy.
Yeah. Like that story I told you about with the new family with the baby that lived upstairs, and then the medical student was poisoning them with opiates. Yeah, he was a physicist.
Oh, that was insane. Yeah. So we'll have to do that.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, you go.
Yeah, before the remains were discovered, several theories emerged about the family's disappearance, such as that they faked their own death, were in witness protection program, were murdered, and had died by group suicide. Shortly before their disappearance, Bobby Jameson was involved in a bitter lawsuit with his father, Bob Dean Jameson, claiming that he had threatened the family and had struck him with his vehicle in November of 2008. Bobby also alleged that his father was involved in meth and criminal activity. Police do not believe that Bob Dean Jameson was involved in the family's disappearance.
Right. So that popular theory of them being, drug dealers themselves.
Yeah.
We talked about, we mentioned that they had the large sums of cash found in their truck and the apparent strange behavior exhibited by Bobby and Sherilyn shortly before they went missing. I mentioned.
Yeah. Sounds like some deflection. Like,
yeah.
I'm not a drug addict. You're a drug addict.
We mentioned in the top of the show how they reported asking about a silver bullet. So they went to their local pastor. His name was Gary Brandon. On separate occasions, that they had seen the spirits inside their home and that Bobby had allegedly claimed to have been reading that satanic Bible. So there's or maybe this was revenge. Not long before their disappearance, Sherilyn had forced, the family friend and handyman Kenneth Bellows.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's just, again, he was cleared. So we don't know.
Yeah. There's something about an alleged meth addict and that skewed religion that turns into obsession and thinking everyone's a demon. Like, it's definitely like ringing some alarm bells. Yeah, so it definitely could have been that. My theory is Bobby and Sherilyn were addicts, fell down the rabbit hole of paranoia, the obsession with the occult, the strange behavior, large amounts of cash is a pretty big tip-off for me. I think it was a ritualistic murder-suicide. They killed their daughter, then themselves, or one killed the other. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know who was more far gone, but was it Bobby who killed both of them and then himself, or Sherilyn killed both of them, or was it Sherilyn and Bobby planning this? So it sounded like their daughter was part of this regardless.
Yeah.
What's your theory?
Again, I mean, she's only 6 years old. So her life got cut too short by...
It didn't even begin.
It didn't. No, not at all. Because her parents, it's definitely her mother, because it's a known fact that she had bipolar. She had, mental disorders. So her mother, right off the bat, was not okay mentally to help be her mother at that point in time. You know what I mean? So she never had the start.
Yeah.
And so my question, so when it comes to what happened, I would need to see more and read more, like police reports, things like that, because if it was so much of a ritual type killing,
like what did it look
like a math, what did it, because we've seen it,
but like
a satanic suicide type thing.
Sure.
They would cross their arms, have something circling them, mass suicide.
Some kind of like
they would leave paraphernalia
around. But if they are like addicts, it could have been like a very like chaotic thing. So I'm not sure. How it would pan out.
They took a picture of Madison that day. You can Google it. You can see the picture of her. But it's so hard to determine. Was she smiling? Was she crying? Was she hurt?
Was she scared and told
that 6 year? Yeah, exactly. That 6-year-old
that
kind of smile. Yeah, that the picture that's shown here that we're showing, it is not the same picture of that day.
No, that picture is definitely like a happy kid that was.
Yeah, it's definitely a different one. But I mean, there's just too many questions to have like a solid theory.
Yeah. We could talk for hours.
Yeah, I mean, what could have been, but with Bobby and his father, when he was working at the gas station for his father. So when he was working there, his father had said, I can't pay you right now, but down the line, you're going to own half of this gas station. So
how good of a trade-off is that if you can't afford to pay your employee?
Right. So, I mean, it could have been the father being involved, but they cleared him as well. But why are all of them dead? Including his granddaughter. Like, would he kill his granddaughter? Like, it's so fucked up to even
collateral damage.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oof.
It's just too many questions. We'd have to dive deeper even more.
I would love to see the documentary on this.
I mean, it was just like it's more of a local YouTube type thing. There's no actual.
Oh, I know.
But you get a lot of like information that you wouldn't have known just reading about the case. But it's definitely something that I don't think will ever be solved because there's not much to go off.
Right. Unless someone came forward and
Exactly.
said,
Yeah.
I did.
Maybe the father in his deathbed says, "Hey,
I love a deathbed confession.
Yeah, I killed my son, my daughter-in-law, and my granddaughter." Like, that would be horrific, but there'd be some sort of closure.
If you're listening, listeners,
yeah,
if you know if your grandfather, grandmother, someone you know had a deathbed confession of robbing banks, murder, like, we want to hear it, even if it's something petty. If they're on your deathbed and they're like, I'm the one who stole Auntie Beth's pearl necklace.
Deathbed
I want to hear.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely email us at Bryan and Katie 1103@gmail.com. We won't tell you, we don't have to say who it is.
Right.
Everyone can be anonymous,
Yeah. Send your perp stories to us. You can do it through our socials.
Don't send anything too incriminating, though. You don't want to incriminate
yourself. No, you can definitely incriminate yourself. It's totally fine. If you're the perp, send it in.
We'll change the name.
So, dear listeners, what do you think happened to the Jameson family? Was this the tragic result of mental illness, the occult, some type of satanic ritual, a drug deal gone wrong, a stranger in the woods, or something else entirely? We would love to hear your theories. So share your thoughts with us. Again, Facebook, Name That Perp. Instagram is at Name That Perp Podcast, or you can, of course, send us an email. We'll put it on the screen.
It's there, yeah. Bryan and Katie 1103@gmail.com. And
that's Bryan with a Y.
That's Bryan with a Y, yes. So, I mean, we'll just move away from this because this way too many.
We would talk all night.
We really would. And nobody wants to just hear us going back and forth,
Debatable.
But we do need to send a shout out to those countries that are listening.
Bolivia, Germany,
the UK.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, tons of listeners in the US.
Yeah.
It's insane. I cannot believe that we have people listening around the globe.
That's
literally
insane.
Around the globe.
We just started. We're nobodies. Maybe it's the accent.
I feel like somebody.
Maybe it's the accent. It's the Boston accent. Who knows? So
this is Name That Perp.
Yeah.
So maybe we should play Name That Perp.
We're going to play Name That Perp? Are we going to do it? I don't know. Should we play Name That Perp?
Let's do it.
Let's just jump in.
Our Spanish listeners want to hear it.
Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
All right. So our perp was born April 3rd, 1986 in Thousand Oaks, California.
Oh.
They are the youngest of 3 children. They showed an interest in acting from a young age, and their parents were very supportive of their aspirations. They attended the Comedy Stories acting classes and quickly became recognized for their comedic talent. By the time they were just 7 years old, they had already secured a role in a national commercial.
So by the time they were 7.
Imagine being...
They were that funny at 7 years old?
Imagine being 6 years old and getting on stage at the Comedy Store.
Are they a Nepo baby? Already that it shoots out Nepo to me, but all right.
I can't confirm or deny these.
Yeah, I know. We gotta leave it up to the listeners just to try and figure it out until we
give that air.
The big reveal. So their big acting career came in 1996 when they were just 10 years old. So 3 years later, they were signed to a major network and eventually got their own spinoff. In 2002, they starred in their first movie, and their first fame continued to skyrocket as they got into teen comedies. They also starred in a TV show from 2002 through 2006. Little clue in the bucket. Another one.
Little clues. If I had mentioned like the network and what they were in, it would be
over. Yeah, game over.
Yeah. So unfortunately, our young star has had several encounters with the law over the years, particularly during the late 2000s, late 2000s. That's not what I meant.
It's okay.
Like the O's.
Yeah, the O's, double O's.
The early O's and early 2010s. 2010 marks the beginning of a downward spiral for our perp, characterized by erratic behavior, legal trouble, and public outbursts.
I can mean a lot of celebrities right now.
Right? There were a lot of drugs. The events that year were part of a large period of turmoil in their life, which would continue into the following years. Throughout 2010, they began to show increasingly erratic behavior. They announced their retirement from acting in July, citing a desire to focus on other interests, though they had been taking a break from acting for several years at this point. This move surprised fans as they were a well-known child star and had recently appeared in popular films.
All right, so that's like half of Hollywood at this particular time. But I mean, we are dropping some clues, though.
Right. So they had been like these big films and then took a couple years off. Like, guess what? I'm retiring. Everyone's like, but you're in these huge films.
Yeah.
And it's been a few years. Like, why now? Why say anything?
Yeah. So, I mean, they became very active on Twitter, now X, where they made a series of controversial and bizarre posts.
Roseanne.
They would often tweet about their appearance, relationships, and various celebrities, sometimes in a seemingly erratic manner. One of the most talked about moments occurred when the publicity called out when they publicly called out the biggest icon, one of the biggest music icons in the world, Rihanna.
To me, the queen.
Pretty much, yeah. They thought Rihanna was ugly in a tweet that garnered a lot of attention. And that's what it was. It sounds like, hey, let me post this.
Let me
get this out in the world. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Any publicity. That's where I was going in my head.
Any publicity is good
publicity, right?
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who you are, I guess. They were also involved in multiple car accidents in 2010 and 2011, including a hit and run incident. So these incidents raised concerns about their safety and well-being, as they appear to be struggling with their personal life in the public eye. Though it was not until a few years later that more serious issues became widely known. I feel like the listeners are getting warm. If not, they've already gotten there just because. All right,
I mean, other than like the Twitter, I feel like it could be a lot of.
Yeah, I think calling out Rihanna was like one of the biggest pop culture moments in that time.
Completely deleted that from my brain. Maybe because I just love Rihanna so much that I'm like, no one would ever say anything bad about her.
I still remember the first album. It was for me, it was a CD.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course.
And it was that yellow covered CD. I don't even know what the hell the name of the album was. We did, and I'm like, and I knew every song because I played it so often. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, back to our perp. Back to our perp. I'm so sorry. All right. So in April 2012, they were arrested in West Hollywood, surprise, surprise, for driving under the influence, DUI. They were pulled over after reportedly hitting a police car, and the breathalyzer test confirmed that they were under the influence of alcohol. They were also involved in multiple hit and run accidents in 2012. They were reportedly involved in 2 separate incidents where they collided with other vehicles and fled the scene, leading to misdemeanor charges. That's the Hollywood slap on the wrist.
What a disaster. Imagine hitting a cop car.
It's kind of, we're laughing because it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Can you be that dumb?
Yeah, absolutely.
You could have gotten a taxi. This was the early days of Uber, wasn't it? Were there Ubers?
No, I don't think so. I think Uber came out like
Uber.
Uber came out after the fact.
But you could have gotten a taxi. This person has so much. When we say who this is, like, they can afford a car service.
Yeah, their personal, the personal ride,
personal
whatever.
Chauffeur.
Before the Uber, they have their personal Uber, whatever.
The Uber.
The Uber.
In May of 2013, our perp was arrested in New York City after they allegedly threw a bong out their apartment window when the police arrived. They were charged with reckless endangerment, tampering with evidence, and possession of marijuana. Now, this is way before marijuana was legal everywhere.
Yeah.
After a series of erratic behaviors and public incidents, including setting fire to a driveway in 2013, our perp was placed under a psychiatric hold.
See, I think right there is like the ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Their behavior raised concerns about their mental health, and soon after, our perp's parents sought a conservatorship, which was granted. This legal arrangement gave the parents control over our perp's financial and personal affairs. Throughout this period, our perp struggled with substance abuse and mental health issues, which were often linked to their legal battles. There were public outbursts, social media rants, and increasingly bizarre behavior that attracted significant media attention. In 2022, after nearly 9 years, the conservatorship was terminated. They had reportedly been working towards stabilizing their life, focusing on their mental health, and seeking treatment, which led to the decision to end the legal arrangement.
So, listeners, have you named that perp? If not, it is American actress, singer, and former child star, Amanda Bynes. Amanda got her big break in 1996 on Nickelodeon's All That. We all know what's going on, what happened with Nickelodeon, and
it definitely explains a lot of the behavior.
Yeah, from a lot of these stars. The early 90s kids and things, especially Nickelodeon.
Yeah, just to CYA.
Yeah.
The alleged abuse that went
the alleged, yes. So on All That in 96, in 1999, Amanda Bynes got her own show on Nickelodeon, The Amanda Show, which it wasn't bad.
Amanda.
There was some funny shit in there. It was just like stupid funny, where kids just ate it up. That ran until 2002. By the early 2000s, Bynes transitioned to film and had major success. Some of her most notable movie roles included What a Girl Wants. That was a good one.
I love that movie. I love
She's the Man.
Another
that's a soccer one, right?
Yeah.
She's the Man, and that's like, how many times have we've seen that meme or where she lifts her shirt up
on the field?
Yeah. Hairspray, Easy A, which is one of my favorites. I love Easy A. She also starred alongside Jenny Garth in What I Like About You from 2002 to 2006. I completely forgot about that.
Another amazing show that I feel like does not get
underrated.
The attention.
That's what I feel about Caroline in the City.
Oh, that's a terrible No one remembers it because they probably deleted it from their brains. It was such a
Caroline in the City was not a bad show.
It wasn't a good show.
Like that, like Caroline in the City, Mad About You, though, that's my jam.
I'm not mad about you.
That is my shit.
Apples and oranges.
It's just wholesome. It's fun. It's just laid back, chill. You don't gotta like pay attention,
Which tells me it's a shit show.
I'm like, whatever. All right. So Amanda Bynes, her legacy as a former child star is a mix of successes and challenges. Her early career brought her a great deal of success and a devoted fan base, even to this day.
I still have so much respect for what she did so young. Like, it breaks my heart, like what happened to her and her struggles, because she really had an incredible career being so young.
Not only you, but she does have like the backing, especially of young audiences. Even today,
grew up together.
Yeah, but I mean, even before, like you're not in your 30s, like younger, a lot younger.
Yeah,
we see it.
Yeah, and Nickelodeon has aired All That in the Amanda Show,
and they still do like on Pluto and things like that. Yeah, they still have that Nick channel.
they're on something.
Yeah, I know Netflix has like the Victorious.
Yeah, because I know there was quite a controversy over the stars not getting the residuals.
Yeah,
because they were underage.
Yeah, didn't somebody take it though? Somebody wanted residuals and they did it really smart. I forget who it was, but we'll get back to that.
We'll figure it out.
Her personal struggles also highlighted the pressures and difficulty of growing up in the public eye. Despite her setbacks, she remains a beloved figure in pop culture. Now, before you jump in, if you've seen her TikToks now, like, I know everyone has their own persona or perception of someone.
She is not in my algorithm.
She is not okay.
No.
Go ahead and finish before. I don't want to like be too critical.
No, but we do want to mention, if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or mental health challenges, please know that you're not alone and there is help available. It takes strength to reach out for support, and it's the first step towards healing. The National Helpline for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services is, of course, available 24/7 at 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. Whether you're looking for treatment options, support, or simply someone to talk to, they offer free confidential help to guide you through the next step.
Yes, absolutely. It's not like it was when we were kids. When it comes to mental health and therapy, it wasn't something that was widely talked about.
No, it's stigmatized.
Yeah, within the family, nothing. Like, it was like, oh, you need a therapist. There's really something wrong with you. No fucking shit there is.
We still have family members that say that.
Right? Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Like, it's you need to be healthy mentally. People don't understand
everyone
that.
should go to therapy.
Everyone
needs therapy.
Try it out. Give it a legit chance. Don't just say, oh, I want to talk to a therapist. No, really give it a shot if you need to.
Like, I joke that I go to therapy because of all of the people in my life that didn't go to therapy.
Well, they put you there.
But everyone needs therapy.
Yeah, in some sort of way. You don't have to be down, depressed, on the floor, like a hermit, whatever the case may be. It doesn't have to be this huge outcry of help.
No.
If you just need somebody to talk to and just,
an unbiased opinion, someone that's there.
And you can fire them at any point in time. You can get another one.
Yeah.
And that's what medical's for. Whatever the case may be, it's just medical.
And we're not like
mental health.
We're not sponsored, but they do have BetterHelp that doesn't need insurance.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do take insurance, I believe, but I know that you don't actually need insurance.
So Amanda Bynes, her TikTok right now.
Oh, please tell me. I'm sorry.
So
I digress.
She has these really thick, dark eyebrows.
I've seen them.
You've seen them, and the heart tattoo under her left or right eye.
She's had that for years.
Well, I don't know. And then the nose thing. I don't know. She looks.
When you say
sad.
Nose thing,
the nose ring. The nose ring.
To his nose.
We'll get on camera eventually. But like that nose ring thing, she just doesn't look okay. Like, I know she has a huge following. Her TikTok subscribers, I don't even know how many there are. There's a lot. But it's just.
Do you think it's support or curiosity?
Both. Definitely both. Because if you look at the comments, there is a mixture of, wow, this girl is tapped, or you go, Amanda, we're rooting for you, this and that, because she does like these, I don't know, like these help videos.
She has a podcast.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I haven't listened to it, but I do remember hearing that she started a podcast. I'm not making that up, right?
I don't know if you are or not, because I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure she does.
Really?
Yeah, with Paul Szymanski.
Who the hell is that?
I'm not sure, but I feel like I'm supposed to know.
Well, you're supposed to know a lot of things. But anyway, definitely check her out. Get the nostalgia on TikTok if you haven't followed up on her. Do so now. Check her out. See how she's doing.
Oh,
let us know what you think.
Sorry, I just looked up Paul Szymanski, and
who is it?
Can
you see a picture?
I'm really not sure. No judgment.
Okay.
I
know who that is now. I know who that is. Yeah.
So yeah,
he's controversial.
Okay.
He tells kids to
Master of Science.
He tells kids to like disown your family if they voted for the other side. Like that. So it's like
we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah, I don't know. He's been controversial, but I didn't until
they're
showed me
both
the picture.
controversial characters, which I'm sure
Yeah, and I
that's
think
why
puts on a great show.
have a podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a very interesting listen.
Which hopefully this episode was episode 4.
Wow. Can you believe we stuck with it? And we'll
kind of surprised, but yeah, we enjoy it. Yeah. It's just getting the time to record when mom can
take the baby
for a little bit so we can record and have some fun with it, and hopefully people will tune in and listen.
They are all over the world.
They really are, and we appreciate it so much, and always look forward to Name That Perp moving forward, because we're never going to stop now. We're never going to stop. Well, that's our show.
So thanks for joining us for Name That Perp. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, stay safe.
Stay away from perps. If you don't stay away, let us know. We will talk about it. All right, I'm Bryan.
And I'm Katie.
Take care, guys.